How you doing? How's your week been? Okay. Feeling that it's fall time? Fine. Or you're on the summer camp? I've been giving something. They have the tab. You can trade. I just got the consent form yesterday, Good. But I haven't started. And I'm supposed to present next Thursday, but I'm not sure where I have enough stuff to if I come on Friday to observe this kid. Gotcha. Sorry. So what will you need? What do you need to have for your presentation? The presentation. I will need to make a pattern of like my poetry. Okay. This part I might not really be sure the purpose. Okay. Because this those two kids, what the one that's in the older preschool classroom is the one that signed permission slip here. Gotcha. The consent form. So I do know her, but not really for it was like during the summertime for that little bit. So I kind of know this kid, but not fully know her. Okay. Okay. One thing that kind of pops out to me is the different weights of these. So this is different. Yeah. Describe the Padlet. I'm not sure for this one. How would I really share it? Because this time around we don't. I don't have like a little group me chat with them. Yeah. And I don't really get to see them. Like I don't have the class after tomorrow. There's like two class back to back, so I'm not in that other class. So I'm for that Padlet part. I'm not really sure how we'll really send it to them because like when I try to do the sending out to them, I didn't really get a response back. Gotcha. Do you have like a set of instructions for this assignment? These are mainly, and These are mainly. The other ones. This one, that's it. Okay. What is you know like what you're supposed to like what you're supposed to do? My classmate last week, they mainly did like language, social, emotion. For their kids, they're mainly like they speak English and Spanish. For what they were kind of looking at was like see how like if they speak either for one of them, they mainly went to a Spanish class on the weekend, so like they were trying to see like can they communicate like understand English and kind of stat. That's what they were doing with the Spanish part.
Okay.
Their little kids.
Gotcha.
There was with the language and the emotion, communicating with the classmates, teachers, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And like siblings.
Gotcha. I'll just read through this to get that.
It doesn't really state.
Yeah, so let's look back at those. So this is a report, so I'm
This would be
assuming.
the paper one after the presentation. I need to type this.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah,
And
let's
then I'm
take.
reflecting on this.
Okay, let's look at the previous instructions.
The presentation?
Yeah. Because I'm assuming the report is due after the
Yeah,
presentation.
like a week after, on that Monday.
Okay, cool. So you have 8 to 12 minutes. And in that 8 to 12 minutes, introduce the child. State the purpose of studying the child. What did you find out about the child and why? So I think what that's saying is, what are you going to be looking for? What are you going to be like thinking about as you observe the child?
I think what I was really looking for her, since I haven't really seen her since like last year, summer. So I know that she have a younger sibling during was born like either early this year or like last year. So she have a younger sibling,
Okay.
a younger brother. Um, but like it's very young, like a baby. Um, and she was the only kid before in the summertime. So like
Got it.
from an only kid to a sister, older sister.
Okay, so what are you going to be like? What like are you interested in learning?
I kind of like know that before she was drooling a lot, so she did have a therapy before for like that. But I don't really know much about this kid. But a lot about it.
And you don't necessarily have to, so it's kind of up to you when you go into this observation, what you want to be looking for. Um, like, are you going to be looking for like social skills, for language development, for, logical thinking? And what are you going to be thinking about as you watch as you observe?
For her, I think her speech she's okay with that, but and then her emotion part, I think it's okay
Okay.
for her, and yeah. But I haven't been in that classroom. She's like recently moved over from the younger preschoolers to this class, so she's been here for like a month. Okay, this older class.
So if it was a completely random preschool, never heard of before, what would you be interested in observing through the observation? What would you be interested in learning?
It was kind of like when I did it was like the behavior and how the emotions and then language.
Okay,
Those
so
kind of look the main.
behavior, emotions, and like. Okay, so are those the three areas you want to look after this?
Maybe maybe yeah.
Yeah, those seem like three good areas. Um, so then the question is going to be, what specifically in those three areas are you going to be looking at to see? So that kind of goes into the next one. Describe the observation process and data collection instruments. Why those instruments?
I'm not sure if the questions I had used before were okay because the ones before it was with a kid that had like had therapy, speech therapy.
Okay.
Um, some of the questions might be okay, but not all of them because it was mainly kind of get the background. That time around was to get the background of the kid and like how the kid is doing in class. But those questions, like interview questions.
So do you have an example of this, of like a report or a presentation anywhere, either on the D2L or in the syllabus?
The most of them don't really give like that. I don't really know.
You know about the observation process and data collection instrument.
For the instruments, there was so-called like those checklists, those rating scales, and those other types. the notes and stuff. And it can be those interview questions since those were kind of fun.
Which ones are you interested in using?
Um, I'm not sure what the notes that I'm getting from the observation be okay. It doesn't say I need like many, like more than 2 or 3.
So let's pick out some specific data collection instruments for you.
I might do those questions again, but change them around.
Let's take a look at them.
Um, and then yeah, I will change the question. Uh, yeah, this was like for the
Okay. And is this considered a data collection instrument?
yeah, this was yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, my classmates did the question too. Like
Cool.
to kind of like just get their background. And like yeah, it was the background kid and stuff like that.
Awesome. So do you feel good about that part? Describe the data collection instrument? Why you use them?
Um, I think a little bit
Okay. Why not a lot? Why are you not a super?
because I kind of don't really know all of some. Yeah, I don't really know all of the instruments that we're using in the class. Even though
Let's take a look at one that you don't feel as comfortable with.
so for example, like those templates and ratings, still I had to make it myself, but I had difficulty making it.
Okay. Let's take a look at what you've got.
Sorry.
What you got for that?
Here. So want some too? You're good? Oh my God. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes. It's your turn of day for now. About time we need to say. The template, it was for the younger one. Okay. This is what it is.
Okay.
This will have. Okay. It was based on this development, so like this is kind of like what I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah, the full group.
Yeah.
And you could use this one for this observation?
This was for the younger one.
Okay. Do you have one for this age group?
That was the rating. That's similar to this, just not the yes and no. It's with numbers.
Let's take a look at that.
Um,
You're very organized.
not really. It looks organized, but not the download is not.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you said you're not feeling super confident about using this one?
I'm not, if I were to use this for what I'm looking for, those skills I might need.
Gotcha. So like which one might you need to change?
I don't think I'm using physical
Okay.
for sure.
So
I
we
think
could probably just put like NA for that.
I don't think I'll use the physical. The cognitive maybe.
Okay.
It'd be kind of like the, and then language here, and then social emotion. Yeah, at least it's four of them about it.
Do you think you would be able to use this one, even if you don't use the physical?
Maybe.
Okay. So
I think like so if I were during the observation, I'm looking at this, I will have like difficulty really observing the kid. That's what.
gotcha, gotcha. So it's like you're a little bit worried about if you're thinking about these rating scales and these tools, you won't be able to observe the kid.
Fully observe the kid to like get the information I'm trying to look for based on these domains.
Gotcha.
I think I can use it, but just
Yeah. How long are you going to be observing the kid for?
I still could present next Thursday, but I think I might need to push back since I just got it this week.
Yeah.
I'll try to go this Friday,
Mhm.
and then maybe make it next Friday.
Okay.
So like 2 hours.
And how long will each observation be?
It's also depends on how long you want to stay there. So what I have done before for this observation was like 4 hours.
Okay. So a pretty decent amount of time.
Like nine or eight something to one.
Okay. Yeah, so I wonder if
Kind of have to.
yeah, like if
And I know the kid in the afternoons like they act different because they took a nap and then
Yeah.
they're more.
yeah. And so a lot of this stuff, the physical, some of it, yeah, like can hop on one foot, like you might not see that, can throw a ball. But over 4 hours, you might see things like use a fork or spoon, can cut a paper with scissors, can pick up small items. Um, so why do you like what about like over the 4 hours, why do you think it will be hard to both observe the kid and use this at the same time?
I'm not like I think it's kind of like I might not really be able to kind of like I can look at what I have, but like so-called what I have on the notes might not really make sense. That's why I like did a few more observations of the kid to like fully get everything.
Yeah, yeah. Do you mind scrolling down? So these are pretty specific behaviors. Um, are you able to interact with the kid?
So-called on this, I can't, but I will
Okay,
be in some ways interacting with the kid.
gotcha.
So-called you're so-called supposed to be like a little fly on the wall.
Yeah. So a lot of this stuff, I wonder if, while you're
I did
observing,
okay on this.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, I wonder if while you're observing, since it's a rating scale of 1 to 4, it doesn't have to be like exact, it's not yes or no. So do you think if when you're like taking notes and noticing things, you would be able to afterwards kind of go back to this and fill it out?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that'll be easier is to maybe just take notes on like their behaviors, what they're doing, things you notice. And then maybe come back and like, for instance, if it's can do a simple 10-piece puzzle, maybe they don't do a puzzle, but maybe they are doing something else like doing a word search or like doing a matching game. That might be, you might be like looking for things like, oh, would I expect them to be able to do a simple 10-piece puzzle? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you get it.
Okay. How do you feel kind of like looking through this? How do you feel about maybe going back after the observation and filling this out?
Yeah, I think I can try to do that.
Yeah. Because for instance, too, like it said can correctly name commonly used colors. Like maybe they don't do colors, but maybe it's animals. And it's like if they can name animals, then they probably can name colors.
Yeah, because I can write the comments.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe don't think of it as necessarily like, oh, I have to fill out every one of these perfectly, and if not, then I'm screwed, you know? But think about like, okay, what information did I get that I can then go back and kind of figure these things out? Like, for instance, can pick up small items. If they can't pick up small items,
I meant like that one can be like a piece of paper on.
yeah.
Or
And you
like a
would probably
crayon.
notice if they could, like you might not remember like back, like, oh, did I see them pick up a small item? Maybe like you can't remember, but if they're able to like, but you would notice if they weren't able to use a pencil, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So maybe kind of think of it less as like, okay, I have to make sure this is perfect, and more like, okay, let me use this as a tool to kind of figure out what skills they have and what they don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, then maybe this will be another one, and then those notes I get from my observation could be another tool because those
Yeah.
can be ones.
And then you have multiple different tools to use.
Yeah, and then so called I will need to say how it works together. Like
Yeah.
this, and then those questions, and then my note.
And how do they work together?
But if I were to use my rating scale here, it can kind of help me with what I see during the observation.
Yeah.
And then the questions is kind of like really just mainly to get the background of the kid and then see how not it will I don't think it's kind of really connect to here in some ways, but it might.
And how could it maybe connect?
If I change the question.
So, for instance, if you're getting the background on the kid and you learned that at home they don't ever see their parents, they're just kind of alone, how might that show up in these?
Mm, I think like that they're not really like they're quiet, not really interacting with their friends.
Yeah. So maybe think of it that way of like, how do the things interact? If they have a really supportive home and, they show up in specific ways, maybe you could tie those things together. Kind of think about how does their background and the information you learned from those questions affect their performance in preschool? Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Well, yeah, let's take a look at what else you have to do for your presentation. Describe data organization and analysis. How did you sort, put together?
That's what I did.
Okay, you feel good about that one?
A little bit.
How did you find out about the child, most related closely to purpose, useful?
I think that would be connecting back to number two.
Okay. Hey, you feel good about that?
Um, that part, not really, because I haven't really seen the kids since last year, so
Yeah, and it's
that
hard
part
to,
would be kind of hard to really answer right now.
absolutely,
And then
absolutely.
like if I using my questions, just change the words and some of the questions, and
So I'm more thinking of, do you feel like you will be able to answer that?
I think after the observation
Yeah.
and then get more about the kid, yeah.
Okay, cool. And then describe the process of sharing findings, feedback with the parents, caregivers, guardians.
That part, since I didn't really talk to the parent, it was mainly the teacher communicating.
And you're not able to really talk to the parent, right?
Yeah, during pickup, I don't really like. Last Friday, I did so called those two kids that I wanted to get the parents signed. They were like later leave kids, but I didn't really because I was had to clean the classroom, so
Okay.
I didn't get to.
Can you think of any way that you'd be able to share the findings, even if you aren't able to get in direct contact with the parents?
The teacher.
Okay. And that might be basically what you just described to me might be the way you do that.
Because that's how I did this one.
Yeah. And that's fine. Like you're showing that you're flexible and able to figure things out. So maybe just describing that process of why it's hard for you to like directly communicate with the parents, what you did to get to do this assignment anyways, and then how you were able to share the findings and feedback. Does that make sense?
That part because of the parent, I didn't really know how.
Yeah. Yeah, just do what, just be transparent with what you did and, like.
Kind of like
explain the-
my observation. That's kind of what it's trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and so then it's like, if you have to give your findings through the teacher as well, that's fine.
Because like with the other one, I didn't really do this part to
Yeah.
really talk to them. I
Yeah.
just like presented with what I had gotten
Okay,
at that time, like because the questions I did like very late,
yeah,
and then I presented like very late, so everything was like a bit behind.
yeah, and just, do what you can with that.
Mhm.
If you're not able to get in direct contact with the parents, just describe what you did instead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool?
Mhm.
Cool. And then how can the data be used to better serve and support the child?
That's kind of for the kid, this part,
Okay.
with what I saw.
How do you feel about answering that once you've observed the kid?
I think and then like what I get from the parent and teacher, I think I can answer that after.
Cool. Feel good about that?
I think so.
Okay. Show and describe the Padlet you shared with at least two classmates and discuss how the sharing enriched your case study experience. What was most useful?
That one is kind of like part of the observation.
Okay. Do you feel like you'll be able to do that?
This time around with the Padlet, I'm not sure because I do get to see some of them tomorrow. But I'm not sure because I haven't really even started the observation.
Yeah. Do you know how to find classmate emails through D2L?
I did that, but not all of them respond because some of them they say during this class, the development one, they don't really check their email.
Okay.
Need their phone number or like talk to them in person that like they need a
Yeah.
leave a comment.
So yeah, that part might be tricky. And
That's why. Like,
what might be useful is kind of doing just like a scatter approach where you have your classmates, you'll see some tomorrow, right?
yeah.
Maybe just if you email every classmate, talk to as many people as you can there, and just like once you find two who are actually willing and able to do this, then you're good. But you might have to ask like 10 different people,
Don't have that many. So.
Okay. And just do your best with that. And if you can't find anyone, what will you do?
I'm not, uh, I don't know because this is
Yeah.
a big point.
That's when you reach out to your professor.
This is after so I'm done presenting to here.
Okay.
That one is like the end of the presentation.
Yeah.
So I would need to share my little palette thing of like what's happened during the thing, and then their comments at the end of.
Yeah.
And then like they were kind of like read back what they said.
Yeah. So this is when, if you're not able to find two classmates to do this with you, this is when you'll talk to the professor about it. That's when you say, hey, professor, here's all the emails I sent. Here's all the steps I've done. Basically, you're going to do everything to make it look like there's nothing else you could have done. And then talk to your professor about it. And then that's kind of like, if it's out of your hands, then it's out of your hands. But your professor, you have all that evidence, your professor will be able to work with it.
Yeah.
So that one, you're just gonna have to do your best, and it's always tricky when it's other people because it's like,
That's so cool for this one. I did it like when I'm done with all the observation and then I send it out.
yeah,
But like, I haven't really done the observation. Like there's not really anything to send out.
but you can get in contact with people who would be willing to do that, right? Like, and be like, hey, I'm gonna do my observation, send it out. Are you able to review it for me? When I
Yeah,
did,
because so-called some of our classmates they said so-called when they share their palette their feedback they kind of like help them with their observation.
okay,
But like yeah. So.
yeah. So what do you mean? So some people sent it out before their observations?
I think it was kind of like not really that. I think it was like to help when they were writing up their presentation to present that day. Their little response to their Padlet helped them with the PowerPoint.
Okay. Yeah, and so, you can kind of do the same and uh just be ready tomorrow. It's Friday, right? That you're going to do your observation.
Yeah, this Friday.
Cool. So
there is a class for another. It's not this class, but another one.
Yeah.
I have the other one, the 55 or the 38, one of those.
Okay.
And it's that there's class, and then we'll be meeting for a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, so for that one, just do your best, make sure that you're trying to get in touch with people. You send out stuff soon after you do the observation or as soon as it's ready. But that one, yeah, you're gonna have to be a little bit on top of your game for that one, which is tricky. But just make sure you're you're communicating a lot.
Yeah, this time around the presentation I'm going to turn in and the blue palette too. So
Cool.
I need a picture. I have that.
Do you feel confident that you'll be able to do that though?
I think I might.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just I need to do the observation kind of to like see if I have.
Yeah,
That's
definitely. So what is your plan for the steps you're gonna take before, during, and after the observation?
I think I can kind of start the palette,
Okay.
because that's how I did last time. Little thing too.
Yeah.
I had so-called struggling finding the kid, and then I finally got the kid.
Yeah.
And then consent form signed, and then I started writing my struggles and stuff during the whole thing.
Okay. So take me through the whole thing is what I'm saying. What are you going to be able to do, and what are you going to do before you do the observation? What are you going to be doing during the observation, and what are you going to do after?
I think tomorrow when I'm there in the morning, I will be like tell the director and the teacher I'm planning to come this Friday, and then the next Friday to observe her. Hopefully she'll be here. Yeah.
Okay. And then what else before?
Try to look at the questions that I have and try to maybe change some of the wording in the questions to make sure they, because this time she don't really have therapy and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe make sure it kind of like matches up what I'm looking for
Nice.
during the observation. Yeah, and then with the checklist, the reading skill thing too.
Okay. And then do you want to get in contact with anyone about the sharing the Padlet?
That part I will kind of see tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So awesome. Tomorrow
I do have a Padlet thingy
Yeah.
already have set up, but not fully with everything from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a Padlet, but
Yeah.
not really started yet.
And I think that's smart to try to see tomorrow what you can do. Cool. Anything else you want to do before the observation?
I'm not really sure the purpose part, because like one of my
Yeah.
classmates, for that part they kind of wrote questions of like the purpose, what they're looking for.
Okay.
What questions that they're really kind of looking for when they're doing the study of this kid.
Yeah.
They kind of like
Do you remember what you told me you were interested in looking for?
it was kind of like similar to what my classmates have, their language, social emotion, and then like kind of like a bit of maybe their behavior.
Okay. That's good. Even if it's similar, that's okay because a lot of the stuff is going to be something that should be because you guys are in the same class, right? So yeah, I like that. The social, emotional, and you said behavior.
And maybe the language, even though
Okay.
she can talk, is that maybe her communicating with her classmates to like maybe affect the social emotion and then the behavior part. So like those kind of like maybe.
So it sounds like you have a clear, like, understanding of what your purpose.
Maybe, yeah.
And then you said that they had specific questions. So maybe when you're rewriting those questions, think about your purpose. Think about, okay, do I have questions about their social, emotional behavior? Do I have questions about the language? Think about those different areas.
Because I don't really know what language she speaks other than English.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, and it's also when you're looking at language, you're not gonna just be looking at, okay, what languages do they speak?
Kind of like that one was kind of see if that kind of affects if they learn English well or like
Exactly.
they communicate.
Yeah.
That's why I was trying to ask the parent what language other than English do they speak, if
Totally.
not, or another siblings part.
Exactly, because does a preschooler communicate in English the same way as me and you?
Mhm.
Not really, right?
Not really, yeah, not
Yeah,
really.
they have a whole different language development. You know, I couldn't sit down a preschooler and we couldn't have the conversation over this. They wouldn't, when we would say data collection instruments, they'd be like, what? So also be thinking about, okay, how developed is their English speaking skills? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think like when they were like in the younger classroom, they weren't really able to talk yet.
Okay.
'Cause, like, they were like,
Yeah, and if you're not able to like observe any of these things that you want to, then maybe that's when you think about, asking, interacting with the chat. Even though you're supposed to be at a fly on the wall, maybe you can just stretch it a little, just so you can meet the requirements of the society.
Yeah, for the language part, I can see if they had a language delay to
Yeah.
see to make it.
And that can be something too that you can look at in the observation even if they're just listening, see what do they understand? What are they able to talk about? What are they not able to talk about and understand? Does that make sense? Cool. Anything else that you're thinking about doing before the observation?
I think it's mainly to like about the observation and then those things I'll be using for it to make sure it's okay.
Okay, yeah, so that brings us to during the observation.
Yeah.
What are you going to be doing during the observation?
Yeah, those questions I might need to revise them a bit for sure.
Yeah.
And then this Padlet thing too.
So what are you going to be doing during the observation?
The observation would be the notes, and then maybe I can look at my little scale thing to like see to help with it too. Yeah.
Yeah, notes, the scale thing. And what are you going to be looking for in the observation?
It would be what I kind of mentioned before.
Yep.
Those three-ish ideas for it during the thing.
Exactly. So going in with that's why you're right in prepping beforehand, because going in prepared with those questions, knowing what you're looking for, then you will, because if you're just looking for everything, it's going to be too much. But if you have those specific things that you're looking for, you're going to be able to say, oh, I just saw this student interact with another student, and here's what I learned from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then what about after the observation? What are you going to do after?
It would be like to type up everything and then make sure it follows the presentation and the other one. That's the paper
Okay.
of it.
The papers due after, right?
A week after, but I think I would need to push it back
And
for
that's
the
fine.
stuff.
Yeah. Just make sure to be in contact with your professor about that as as soon as you know. What about getting in touch with for the president with other, or not president, Padlet, it's called, right?
Yeah, the palette.
Yeah. When are you gonna do that? When are you gonna send that out to classes?
I might try to send it out to them or like have talk to them and then see which one would want to see it and like give me compliment on what I have written.
Yeah.
And because some of them in my class tomorrow is the ones in the Thursday one too.
Cool. Sounds like you have a good plan for this.
Yeah, in some ways a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, how confident do you feel about this?
I think it's really just the communicating with the teachers, the director part, and then the classmates to make sure that I have someone for that.
Yep.
The communicating part, and then starting it.
Absolutely. And that's why it's important for communication, just like for this. It's like you want to get that going as soon as possible.
Yeah, because local for this one, it took like a week or a few days for it to come back to me.
Exactly.
We sent it last Tuesday, and then I think the next day I asked her, or like Wednesday or Thursday, I asked that teacher that had sent this out.
Yeah.
But I think she sent it out Wednesday.
Okay,
to the parent. And on Thursday, I asked her anything,
yeah,
and then on Friday she didn't come. The teacher.
yeah,
But this past Monday I got this.
thanks.
Yeah.
And just like that, it's like you see that like people are tough to depend on, kind of tough to tie down to like get stuff like this. So for that part, that's why I'm encouraging you, like tomorrow, even if you don't have the Padlet, to find some people that you're like, even if it's just like, hey, I'm gonna be sending you that, and then it's in their mind, and they're on because then when they get the email from Mandy, it's not, who's Mandy? Why would I open this? It's, yeah, Mandy was gonna send me the Padlet. Maybe they don't get to it for a day or two, but then 48 hours later, they do get to it. Or maybe you have to send a reminder. Hi, did you get a chance to look at that Padlet for me? So it's really just doing the prep work beforehand, especially in that communication area, so that if people are not like responding right away, that you're able to have that time to remind, to give people a chance to look at things so that that's able to go through.
Yes, I think mainly I would still have a problem with what's the purpose, kind of, even
Okay.
though I have those three that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
The purpose of studying the kid for me is still kind of unknown.
So what is your purpose as a student?
Um, since this time around is a girl, I mainly have done boys for
Yeah.
these assignments. It would be a different kind of experience for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that part is for sure.
Okay.
And yeah.
So why are you in school in general?
I think it's to get us everything.
Okay. And then why does getting an education help you?
So cool. It was to help get a job.
Yeah. And you want to be good at your job, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, obviously you're going to be more specific than that, but maybe not think of it as what's the purpose of studying the child, but what are you trying to learn from studying this child? So you talked about those three areas, behavior, emotion, and what was the third one?
Language.
Language. So
I do see it how it's kind of these three do connect in something.
nice. So you've been telling me the purpose, just like that. You see how they connect. You're interested in those areas.
But not sure how the kid with that will see that with this like that.
You won't know. But it's also like, for instance, I could do, just from our conversations, you could fill out one of those assessments on me, even though we haven't done all those things. You're just looking for those little clues that you can get from people's normal everyday interaction. If you went in there and the kid sat in the chair, didn't interact with anyone, and just like stared forward, you would learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
So it's more like you can't know what you're gonna know because what would be the point? So just kind of going into it. That's why I liked what you were pointing out about you're not confident about doing that assessment. I actually think that's good because then you can go in and just like keep an open mind and take notes on things and see what you learn. And then go back to those tools and kind of use them as a guide to help figure out stuff. So that one's a little tricky, but I think if you keep focused on those three areas, emotion, language, and behavior, and kind of formulate your questions around that, then you're going to find a way.
The main struggle for me.
Yeah.
And then later with that putting them all three together, I kind of have it.
Yeah.
But not fully.
Yeah, and that's tough to do before you have the observation because you don't know what you're going to find.
Because this kind of is like the paper in some ways, even though it's the presentation form, the paper is more
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me again, what is your purpose for studying the child?
I think it's kind of to see if what I have mentioned, the three this kid have too, and then see how it is, how she's doing in the classroom.
Yeah. So basically, what you just told me is you want to learn about those three areas and see how they affect a kid in the classroom. That's a pretty good purpose, right? Yeah. And then the rest is going to come to that. If you just have that clear purpose, one sentence, that's going to be the goal, is have your purpose in one sentence. then you can talk about it in your paper. You can talk about why each one of those things are important. But if you have that purpose into one sentence, it's going to help clarify what you need to talk about, what you need to look for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just work on getting that purpose into one sentence. And even if it, I feel like you've done it a couple times, like learning about
I think I've done
skills.
similar activities, but like with reading a book before.
Yep.
But that one was kind of with these kind of ideas too. But like in a book, reading a book.
Yeah.
It's similar with the book. It's the same professor, but with a book that time around, observing the kid with like during read aloud with the parent or like a teacher. That part like was similar to the.
Okay. Cool. Feeling better about it?
I think a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit. Yeah.
And then next week, so it's due Thursday, next week.
When I have to present, but I'm not sure what I have everything by then.
Okay. You will have the observation.
Have one of it. One of the
three.
Or like two or three. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So even if it's just one, we can definitely work on that. And maybe try to come in and just have an outline for your presentation. Like, okay, here's all the different parts, and then we can work on like what exactly to put in areas. But I think you've got a good start.
Yeah, I think I got some. Yeah.
I think you have more than you think you do. I think you just have to trust that you're doing it right. Because I do remember us working on it.
Yeah, that time around I struggled because it was, I think with mainly this part, the purpose, and then this one.
Yeah. And do you and I remember last time compared to this time? Last time I feel like it was more.
I didn't kind of really have like what I was trying to look for.
Exactly.
That's why.
Yeah.
I was confused with this whole assignment because it don't really give clear directions for this one and the paper. So.
Yeah, but this time you're going through it piece by piece and saying, "Am I doing?" And that's exactly what you should be doing. So I think you're on a good track, and you just have to trust that. Like it's always hard with assignments because we always want more detail than we're given. But you do just have to trust that it's like, okay, am I answering this to the best of my understanding and my ability? And if you do that, then it's like you did it, and that's what all you can do. So just trust yourself when you're doing this and try to do everything as good as you can. And if you're not 100% sure, that's okay. Because it's not going to be 100% sure. Just try to trust yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, you got this. So I'm going to log us out. And then, I think your idea of having those three areas and then redoing the questions, I think that's really going to set you up a lot.
Yeah. Because those questions are totally different because it was a different kid.
Yeah. So I'm going to say we met in person and we went over, what is this?
It's a case study.
Case study presentation instruction. Anything else you want me to put in there?
I think that's.
All right. Well, good work. And looks like you're making progress.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Of course. And are we meeting again next week?
I think so. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I don't see you on the schedule yet. Oh no, that's December. Okay.
I have a question. Will you be here still next semester?
I should be, yeah. As long as I retire. Hopefully I don't get fired. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. When I give a presentation. Oh, hell no, girl. No, I was.
You'll still be here next year?
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, that's my class. Just more.
Looking forward to continue working with you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.